So what of all this gibber and jabber? So what of all this talking? Reasonable. What does this mean for the layman? What does this mean for me? In part, it means that part of the reason why we all don't have more of what we want is due to the nature of our frail ability to know things. Not necessarily that our knowledge is divided, but more along the lines of the manner by and which our knowledge is obtained is a relatively weak process. Weak in the sense that it requires expansive and expensive amounts of energy. Expensive in the sense that it is taxing to the body. Weak in the sense that it is difficult to acquire a sense of anything remotely considering knowledge. The darker elements of our consciousness, or the uncogitated aspects of our consciousness, will always have an element that is going to be uncogitatable. There are elements in life that we cannot simply begin to know where to commence beginning to imagine. Therefore, we are always confronted with the least of us coming across a scenario where the greatest of our abilities to proliferate the mythic imagination will never be felt. The language, terminologies, substances, and syntaxes that arise out of a common verbiage with regards to human individual psyches, potential, dilemmas, just don't make it to the everyday course of our routine events. Excuses get put up. Excuses as to why we don't penetrate deeper into the depths of the fiber of our being. Time gets consumed, busying our lives with other pressing matters, all of which are perfectly fine, perfectly valid, perfectly understandable. After all, we are human, susceptible to sensory pleasures. What happens as consequence, partially, is the working memory of our culture's day-to-day activities remain isolated, stuck in perpetuity with no derivation of the same images we envision on a daily, regular basis. It is challenging at first to overcome the fanaticism of meism. We are blasted with propaganda about how superficial vanity is a lucrative thing to possess, with layers furthering dilution added via the form of victimization occurs anytime our egos go opposed. We thus sink further and further, farther and farther into pits of self-aggrandizing delusional fantasies. We are seeing the pretenders behind the veil of attempted puppet mastery unfolding right before our very eyes, more and more. At least those with trained eyes are. They stick out like sore thumbs because at a frequency, to use a cliche, new agey, cultish term, they just vibe different.